As we begin the last stage of our journey, this one is a bit different than the others. While we're all facing the same portal and watching time and space skip around us, watching the twinkling lights of all the spirits joined in together to support our lives, our joy, and our freedom. The stories that come now are individual stories. They're the stories of the people in our families that did the impossible, that made sacrifices and fought so that you, their child, could be just where you are right now. We owe them acknowledgement. We need to call their names. We're made stronger through their efforts, and we praise them. We thank them for all that is, all that was, and all that will ever be. I'll tell you my own story. On the night that my grandfather died, I didn't know he was dead yet, and I remember going to sleep that evening. And I dreamed him so clearly that I know that it's not just a dream. He came to me, he woke me up, and he led me outside. And outside, everything was covered in snow. Everything. The trees looked barren. It was so cold and so white and so seemingly empty and void of life. My grandfather turned to me, and in his stoic voice, he asked me to tell him what I saw. And so I turned to him. He flashed me a grin with his gold tooth, and I told him all I saw was death. He shrugged, bent down to pick up a stick that was standing just near my foot, and he held it up very close to my face so I could see it good. And all along the length of this stick were tiny ants marching back and forth. My grandfather turned to me and he said, "Baby, even in the midst of death, there is life." I'll tell you my grandfather's story tonight for a couple of different reasons. One is I like to tell his story because as long as I tell his story, he's never really gone. And two, because there's a message in there for us. As we look at the current climate of our world, it's so easy to get caught up in the hurt and destruction and sickness and death and anger and frustration and sadness and brutality and violence. It's so easy to be distracted by that. When we look around, it must seem like everywhere is just death. But I want to tell you what Granddaddy told me. Even as we look at our world and see that, let us look to ourselves and know that we can build different. Our people have before. In the middle of chattel slavery, as families were being ripped asunder and culture was being attacked, our people made families. They made home. They made a culture that still stands. That's what we're made of. We don't have to fear death. We just need to learn to walk boldly through it. So as we round out our trip, I ask that you breathe in deeply and exhale. Breathe in hope. Breathe in faith. Breathe in life. And exhale any doubts you have that we are perfectly entitled to it all. Ashe. Ashe. Asheo.